Hey guys, dolls. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial using the IT Cosmetics Naturally Pretty palette. Now, if you've already seen my review, you already know I don't like this palette, so what am I doing making a tutorial with it? Well, if you've seen that review, you know that there are some good eyeshadows in this, and more to the point, there are people who do enjoy this palette despite what I think about it. Here's a look for those of you who love this palette, and for those of you who don't like this palette, or don't have this palette, and have no desire to buy the palette, or are thinking about it, or whatever, I will have a list of dupes at Vintageortacky.com, both from Makeup Geek and from MAC, so two different brands, so you can find other things to use. Really, it's not that complicated of a smoky eye, but the orangey tones of some of the eyeshadows do make it a little different, and they're not super easy to come by. They're not completely rare either, but they're just not as commonplace as like a dark brown. Despite not liking this palette, I do really enjoy this look, and I hope you guys will enjoy it as well. If you do like it, give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and let's go ahead and get started. So for a primer today, I'm going to use the NARS Smudge Proof Pro Prime. Get that on both my lids and blend it on. Now I already have my concealer and my brows on like I always do. Let me know if you want to see a tutorial for how I do my brows. The first color that I'm going to use is Sheer Joy, and I'm going to place that over where I normally put my concealer under my brows. So putting that over my little concealer brows. I will say I do really like this color because it's not very chalky or dry. A lot of highlight colors, if they're very pigmented, tend to look very chalky and stuff. This one's not pigmented, to be clear. It is very sheer. So the name Sheer Joy is actually quite a pro. However, because it's sheer, it's great at just setting that concealer without actually, you know, giving it a dry look. So because this is a smoky eye, I want to start with the darkest color on the lid and just kind of fade it out from there. So we're going to start out with Java, which is a gorgeous, rich brown. Perfect, like earthen brown. Love it, love it. So I'm going to place this on the mobile lid, which is the part of the lid that moves when you do this. So just using like a half moon shape for this. Very carefully. Start to get a little sloppy with it. Just blend that right on the lid in a rounded half moon fashion like so. So I'm going to do a second coat of the brown because I do find that these shadows tend to fade, even the good ones. Need a little extra help, so do an extra layer. Even though it looks super pigmented, just trust me and do that extra layer. The next thing that I'm going to do is take a small taper brush like this. Now this is one from MAC that they discontinued, but you could also use like a 217. Kind of similar concept, but this is just a little bit tighter and denser, so I tend to prefer it. And I'm just going to blend that out so it doesn't have too harsh of a line. I'm going to grab just a little bit extra powder from that eyeshadow to help me blend it. Okay, so next I'm going to use Sunset, which is a gorgeous burnt brown. Grab that on my blending crease brush, and I'm going to rock that in my socket line. Classic Vintageortacky. Gonna rock that in the socket. Just windshield wiper motion back and forth so that's nice and soft and even, and ooh, that turned out fabulous. One thing I am going to do is take another brush like this, which is a little fluffier, and just make sure that's nice and blended out. Also pat it a little bit. I find that these shadows, like if you do a sweeping motion, sometimes they sort of blend away to nothing, but if you do a little bit of the sweepy sweep to get that soft effect, and then just come in and pounce on a little extra color by packing it on with a fluffy brush, it works a bit better. The next thing I want to do is just to add a little bit of color right here in this inner corner. I don't want to go all the way super intense with the orange all the way across, so I'm going to take Soulful, sort of a pink tan, and another fluffy brush, and just slightly flirt that in to the inner portion of the crease. And then also just a little bit on the outside of the eyeshadow area. And I don't know if you guys can see this, but the brown eyeshadow has faded. It's become less of a rich brown, and it kind of turns into like a gray brown as it gets blended away or as it fades throughout the day. So I'm going to bring it back to life, back to reality. And again, I'm just bringing that fluffy brush, blending it all out, making sure everybody is friends. So for my top liner, I just want a line of black, so I'm just going to stamp that on with my Urban Decay ink for eyes. Any liquid liner will do. And you guys will notice I'm not being super precise with this. I'm sort of stamping it on. And then I'm going to come through. When you apply it like this, you get more like a solid straight line. Whereas if you go like dead on with it, like this, see, it's more like feathery. That's what I'm going to do after I get it in close to the lash line to make it softer. Now you could just use a pencil, but I don't want to have to sharpen a pencil. So that's one way to use a product in a way that you would use a different product while having to actually get the product out. It's always a good idea to know multiple ways to use a certain product. Okay. So once you have that on, I'm going to go in with my burgundy pencil. This is Deep Burgundy from Stila, the smudge stick. And I'm just going to smudge over that. And then I'm going to take a little brush. This is from Wayne Goss. This is the 7 brush. And I'm just going to schmutz that out. So I went ahead and applied my full face of makeup. If you want to see what I used all the same products I did in my CC cream review from last week. So I'll go ahead and have a link to that in the description box down below if you'd like to check it out. And I'm just using the burgundy liner on my lower lash line. And I'm going to take it about 3/4 of the way in. A little heavier on the outer corner than on the inner corner. And I'm going to take a Q-tip and just blend out the edge of that. Making sure it's nice and close into the lash line, but not on the waterline. So you can also take the clean side of the Q-tip and clean up your waterline. And then for extra cool points, I'm going to take my NYX Wonder pencil and just put that right there in the inner corner. In the inner corner. Put it in the inner rim. So for lashes today, I'm going to curl them using my Tweezerman Rose Gold lash curler. And I squeeze them once at the base, once halfway up, and then once just before the ends. Then I'm going to use my Clinique Lash Curling Mascara. This is the High Impact Curling Mascara. I wiggle that right at the base to get a lot of volume and then pull it through the ends to give me a feathery lash look. So wiggle and then pull out. Make sure they're nice and fanned as well. And then don't forget your bottom lashes. Mascara face optional. One final touch of the eyeshadow, take the Transforming Pearl shade and put it right here in the inner corner. And I'm not really going to blend it up, I'm just going to take my finger to blur it out. That way you just get a little bit of lightness in the inner corner. It doesn't, interfere with the overall look of the eyeshadow. Now for lips, I'm going to use the Too Faced Melted Liquefied Longwear Lipstick, and this shade is Melted Peony. And you can apply these a little bit more generously and get a more like glossy look. I'm going to apply this more like a stain. So I'm going to squeeze out very little and just smear that all over my lips. Oh, I love the smell of this. So good. So good, Diane. And then over that I'm going to apply a little bit of the stained gloss from OCC and Aurora. By the way, have you seen Maleficent yet? I watched it last night at the drive-in with Mikey and I loved it. It's like, you guys know Sleeping Beauty is one of my all-time favorites. And it was good. I'm not going to give away any hot points, it's just, it's different and I like the difference. So that is my look. Let me go ahead and take my hair down and zhuzh it out. Get some volume. This is like some 2017 hair right here. Here we have the completed look. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I love this look even though I don't love the palette. I think that the look is it's beautiful and there are good eyeshadows in this palette, but they're not all good, which is my... Anyway, more on that in my review if you want to go ahead and see that. I will have a link to that in the description box down below. I will also have a link to my Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all of my social media sites, so you can see more of this mug. If you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Remember to just be yourself. See you, bye.